and gentlemen and programmers, we're going to do lesson 1 part 2 in Greenfoot. All right, so we're going to get right down to business. So you're going to open up that project if you haven't done so already. So let's see, let me teach you how to do that again. So you're going to go to your folder. You're going to go to documents. You're going to go to Greenfoot. You're going to go to poke around until you find chapter 1, and you're going to open up leaves and wombats. You're going to double click on the green foot icon to open that. Okay, so we're going to invoke the move method on a wombat. We're going to invoke the turn left method on the wombat, and we're going to place 2 wombats in your world and try to make them face each other. Once you get them to face each other, you're going to show that to me. So let's take a look at that, what that's going to look like. All right, so you're going to add 2 wombats. Or I can just hit shift, I guess, and then add a wombat. Okay, so you're going to invoke the move method. Okay, and then you can also invoke the turn left method. Okay, and so what I want you to do is figure out, by moving and turning, how do you place 2 wombats in your world and make them face to face? They don't have, one's going to probably be upside down. All right, and then show me when you get that done. All right, and then in your notes, so you're going to, at the top, you're going to say exercise 1.2 questions. You're going to say, what does the move method do, and what does the turn left method do? So write down what you think each of those methods does. All right, and this is the blue color, so this needs to be slipped into your notes. So we can make things happen by creating objects from one of the classes provided in the scenarios. And we can give commands to the objects by invoking their methods. All right, what that means is, so we have these classes, right? So we have these blueprints, and we can make an object from the class, and then we can make them do stuff by invoking their methods. Okay, write this down. Write down in return type. There is the word at the beginning of a method that will tell us what the method will return when we invoke it. So if it's void, that means nothing. It means it's a command. If it has an int return type, that means it's an integer or a whole number, such as 342, -3, 600,000. If it's Boolean, that means it's true or false. Okay, write that down. That's important. We're going to be using that. Okay, write this down in your notes. Methods with void return types are commands, so such as move and turn left. Methods with non-void return types are questions, Boolean can move. All right, so let's take a look at this a little bit and see what this looks like. Okay, so we wrote all this stuff down about return types. Well, what does that all mean? All right, so we have void, eat leaf, that has a void return type. We have void move. Okay, so if these things are void, that means they're commands. Well, let's see what that means. So if I say move, that's a command, he just does it. If I say turn left, it's void, it's a command, he just does it. Now, on the other hand, so methods with non-void return types, non-void just means it's anything but void. That's a question, such as can move. So if I right-click on this, say, and I go to a Boolean, can move, that's a question. Can he move? And it's going to answer it with a Boolean, which is true or false. Yes, he can move. Okay, let's try a different one. So if I say int get leaves eaten, so that's non-void, is int, which means it's a integer, a whole number. So I'm asking the questions, how many leaves has he eaten? And he answers it with a whole number. 0. He's eaten 0 leaves. Okay, so methods with void return types are commands. Methods with anything other than void are questions. All right, so it tells us what the method will return when we invoke it. So, and the methods with voids do not return a value. Okay, so that's important. So let's look at that. Okay, so this one is going to return a value. It gave us a value. This one is going to return a value, true or false, return a value. This one is void. It's not going to return anything. It's just going to do what I asked. Okay, so that's kind of two types of methods. Okay, so invoke the can move method on your wombat. Does it always return true? What are the situations in which it returns false? So I want you to figure out, I want you to make the can move method return false. So right here, if I click on, where's can move? Boolean can move. Right now, it's going to, nope, you didn't see me do that. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to Boolean can move, and it's right now it's true. I want you to figure out, you can make it be false. What do you have to do to make it be false? If you can't figure it out, you need to ask me and to show you, okay? Answer those questions. All right, create a new wombat, invoke the get leaves eaten method. How can you make it return a number other than 0? All right, so I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna say reset. I'm gonna add a wombat, and I'm gonna say get leaves eaten, and it says 0. How can I make that say anything other than 0? Okay, see if you can figure that out, write that down, and if you ask me for help if you need it. All right, so now we're going to learn about parameters. So a parameter is write this down, it's in red. A parameter is a mechanism to pass in additional data to a method. A parameter, the method needs more information. So for example, if I tell you to jump, well, obviously you're going to say, well, Mr. Miller, how high? So when I asked you to jump, you didn't get all the information you needed. Okay, so you needed a parameter. The parameter is how high. So the parameter is a mechanism of passing additional data to a method. So a method is I give you a command, right? The parameter is you need some more information to do it. Okay, so for example, and so it gives an example of get leaves eaten. This one has an empty parameter, and if I say set direction, it actually has an integer parameter. Okay, so let's take a look at those two things here. So if I right click on my guy and I go to get leaves eaten, I'm just asking the question, hey, how many leaves have you eaten? And he answers it. Now on the other hand, if I say set direction, it has a parameter inside the parentheses, right? And so it says integer. So if I say, hey, switch directions, well, it's like, what direction do you want me to go in? So I'm going to say, I want you to go in direction 2. And direction 2 is up in this case, okay? All right. The dialog gives us some more information. Okay, so let's take a look at set. Let's try that set direction again and see what we're talking about. So if I go to set direction, okay, it says sets the direction we are facing. The direction parameter must be in the range of 0 to 3. Okay, so if I do a 0, that's this way. If I go 1 is that way. Anyway, so it gives us some information when I do that. Okay. All right, and I want you to do this. Invoke the set direction method. Which numbers correspond to which directions? Well, we already know 0 is. We already know that 0 makes them go this way. Can you see it? No, I don't know what way that's. It's opposite of the way I'm seeing. I don't know how you guys are going to see it. At any rate, 0 makes them go this way. 1 makes them go this way. 2 and 3 are going to be up and down. Okay, what happens when you type in a number greater than 3? What happens when you type in a decimal, 2.5? Okay, and then, oh, why did I mess up? What did you do? That shouldn't be aced out. What did you just use? The answer is you just used the parameters. You were giving it parameters. Answer those questions. All right, quiz part 2. What is the move method's return type and what does it return? All right, well, let's do this together. What is the move method's return type? So if I go to the move, where's move? It's void. What does it return? Nothing. Is it a command or a question? It's a command. All right. What is the get leaves eaten method's return time, and what does it return? Okay, so if I go to get leaves eaten, okay, the return type is int, so it's going to return whole numbers. Is that a command or a question? It's a question because it's not void. All right, what is the can move method's return type, and what does it return? All right, so let's go to can move. So we're going to go to, it's Boolean. Okay, so what's its return type? Boolean. Is it a command or a question? It's a question. What is it we're going to return? Boolean, which is true or false. What is a parameter? Okay, so a parameter is the things in parentheses, and it's a way to pass in additional data, such as set direction. If you're going to ask it to set the direction, you have to tell it which direction to go. Which method has a parameter, and what is its data type? Well, I just answered that for you, but a set direction and its data type is integer. When you set the direction, you have to give it a number. All right, that's it for part 3. No, that's it for part 2. Go on to part 3.